The millionaire sees the nanny dancing with his daughter. What he did next shocked everyone. On a rainy Monday morning in Boston, the sky was painted in shades of gray, droplets tapping gently against the windows. Yet inside the luxurious penthouse of Dr. Michael Turner, life unfolded with the precision of a metronome, steady, predictable, and void of surprise. Michael, at 42, was among the leading heart surgeons in the United States. With hands that had saved thousands of lives, he was admired in the medical world and seen as the embodiment of discipline. For the past 20 years, his life had followed an unchanging rhythm. Waking up at 4:30 a.m., a brisk 20-minute workout, a cold shower, a cup of black coffee with no sugar, and then an hour at his desk reviewing patient charts and preparing for surgeries. At exactly 6:45, breakfast. By 7:15, he was out the door, heading to the hospital. To the outside world, Michael was the portrait of success. He healed, he taught, he lectured at international conferences. His life was a series of precise numbers and carefully measured actions, leaving no room for disorder. But behind the white coat, he was a man wrapped in solitude, using discipline as armor against a pain he refused to face. 3 years earlier, his wife Emily had passed away after a long battle with cancer. From that day forward, Michael buried himself even deeper in work. He believed that relentless effort was the only way to silence the emptiness inside. In his mind, surrounding his daughter with material comfort was the same as giving her love, never realizing that what she longed for most was simply his presence. His daughter, Lily Turner, had been only 6 when her mother died. Now, 9 years old, she carried bright eyes and a gentle smile, though that smile was growing rarer with time. Their house had everything: a spacious bedroom, imported toys, and the best schools. But what Lily lacked most was her father's presence. Breakfast in the granite-tiled kitchen was often the only moment they shared. Lily would try to talk, eager to tell her father about a dream she had or something that had happened at school. Yet Michael, eyes glued to his phone and his thoughts already inside the operating room, would offer only half-hearted nods. Whenever Lily mentioned music, her greatest passion, he would quickly change the subject, dismissing it as childish talk. To Michael, life came in only 2 shades: success and failure. He had never considered that another world might exist, a world where sound, feeling, and dreams mattered just as much as the steady heartbeats he worked tirelessly to preserve. And within Lily's small heart, a quiet flame burned, the flame of music, of the violin she had once heard beneath dazzling lights during a concert with her mother. A flame Michael had never noticed, blinded as he was by the lens of discipline and duty. Every evening after school, when the clock neared 8 and the house grew quiet, Lily would close the door of her bedroom and quietly slide out a worn wooden case from beneath her bed. Inside rested an old violin, the last gift her mother had given her before she passed away. It wasn't an expensive instrument. Compared to the luxury toys scattered across her room, it looked plain, even shabby. Yet to Lily, it was more precious than any treasure. The moment she held the violin, she felt as though her mother was still there, wrapping her in a gentle embrace, whispering, "My darling, let music guide your heart." Her passion had begun on a night years earlier, when Emily was still alive. That evening, she had taken 6-year-old Lily to Carnegie Hall. As the orchestra soared through Tchaikovsky's concerto, the hall seemed to hold its breath. Lily sat frozen, wide-eyed, scarcely daring to move. In that instant, she knew this was the world she belonged to. From that night onward, she carried within her a dream, simple yet unshakable, to become a violinist. But Michael never understood. Whenever Lily tried to tell her father that she had learned a new melody, he would nod distractedly and return to his phone or tablet. Once she gathered all her courage to say at breakfast, "Daddy, I practiced the opening of Ave Maria. Would you like to hear it? Michael glanced up, his smile polite but distant. That's nice, Lily, but remember, math and science will build your future. Music is only a pastime. Lily pressed her lips together, swallowing a sigh. She knew her father loved her, but his love was shaped in ways far different from what her small heart longed for. So music became her secret. Each night she taught herself through online videos, repeating the same passages over and over. Her little hands trembled, wrong notes squeaked, sometimes so harsh they made her wince. Yet she never gave up. On the contrary, each mistake fueled her determination to one day stand on stage and pour her whole soul into the strings. For Lily, music was not a fleeting hobby. It was the only thread that tied her to the mother she had lost. Each time she drew the bow, she closed her eyes and imagined she was performing for her mother. In her dreams, the concert hall glowed with light, and her mother sat in the front row, smiling, nodding with encouragement. Once, standing before the mirror, Lily whispered softly to herself, "I will become a violinist, Mama. I promise." But that promise was constantly tested. At school, when friends bragged about sports trophies or high grades, Lily found no one who shared her dream. At home, the only person she wanted to confide in, her father, dismissed it as a childish whim. In those moments, the vast bedroom, with its expensive toys and walls covered in posters, felt unbearably cold. The fragile notes of her violin rose like a lonely whisper into the night. Yet Lily did not stop. Her passion was a hidden flame, burning stronger the more the wind tried to snuff it out. Even without encouragement, even without understanding, she held tight to her secret. Because for Lily, music was not just a dream. It was life itself. That March, the Turner household grew silent to the point of suffocation. After their longtime housekeeper resigned to return home and care for her own family, the spacious apartment was left with only Michael and Lily. The emptiness, already cold, deepened further. Michael, with his relentless schedule, couldn't manage raising his daughter alone. So he placed an ad for a full-time nanny. Dozens of applications arrived, many with degrees and years of experience. Yet none inspired his trust. Some were too rigid, others too distant. None seemed capable of reaching into the world of a 9-year-old girl longing to be understood. One rainy afternoon, Michael's phone rang. On the other end, a clear but steady female voice said, "Hello, my name is Anna Collins. I saw your ad for a nanny position. May I ask if it's still available?" With just that sentence, Michael sensed something different. There was composure in her tone, a quiet confidence unlike any candidate he had spoken with. He scheduled an interview for later that day. By evening, Anna arrived at the lobby. She was 34, wearing a simple navy dress, her hair neatly tied back. Michael's first impression was the effortless grace in her walk, the calmness of her smile. The interview began in the elegant living room. Michael asked the standard questions: childcare experience, cooking skills, ways of handling tantrums. Anna answered calmly, without exaggeration, but what made him pause was one particular line. Caring for a child is not only about feeding and putting them to bed. The most important thing is nurturing their dreams, no matter how small they may seem. Che? Michael was taken aback. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. At that moment, Lily came down the stairs, eyes cautious as she studied the stranger. Anna immediately knelt to meet her gaze, smiling gently. "Hi, Lily. Your dad tells me you're a very smart and special girl. Can you tell me what you love most?" Lily glanced at her father, seeking permission. Michael nodded. She whispered, as though sharing a fragile secret. "I love playing the violin. I want to be a violinist, but people usually think that's silly." Anna's eyes lit up instantly. Her heart raced. Those words stirred something deep inside her own past. She smiled warmly. "I don't think it's silly at all. The violin is one of the most beautiful arts. A child with such passion is truly special. Would you like to tell me more about it?" Lily lifted her head, her eyes flickering with hope. For the first time in so long, she felt truly heard. In just a few minutes, Anna had accomplished what Michael never could. She had opened the door to Lily's heart. As the interview came to an end, Lily asked shyly, "Will you come back tomorrow?" Michael looked at his daughter, then at Anna. He was struck by the brightness in Lily's gaze, so full of anticipation. Slowly he nodded. "If you're willing, we can begin tomorrow." Anna smiled and accepted without hesitation. In that moment, an invisible thread began to weave between the three of them, signaling that a profound change was on its way. In her first days at the Turner household, Anna observed quietly. She noticed that Lily was a bright, well-mannered child, yet laughter rarely touched her lips. Only when she held her old violin did her eyes come alive. One afternoon, after school, Anna heard faint music drifting from upstairs. She climbed the staircase softly and stopped at Lily's door. Through the crack, she saw the little girl standing before the mirror, bow trembling in her hand, struggling to draw simple melodies. The sound was awkward, uneven, and often off-key. Yet there was something in it that stirred Anna's heart. Raw emotion. Lily was not just playing with her fingers, she was playing with her soul. Anna knocked gently. "Lily, may I come in?" The girl startled, quickly setting the violin down. Her voice faltered. I was just practicing a little. Please don't laugh at me." Anna stepped closer, kneeling so their eyes met, her gaze warm and kind. "Why would I laugh? I'd love to hear you play. Would you show me?" Hesitant at first, Lily slowly lifted the violin. The notes wavered, filled with mistakes, yet there was a rare sincerity in every sound. When the piece ended, Anna felt her eyes burn. "Lily," she whispered, "you have a special gift. Who taught you these notes?" "No one," Lily murmured. "I learned from videos online. Daddy says violin is a waste of time, so I practice in secret." At those words, Anna's chest tightened. In Lily's struggle, she saw the reflection of her own past. Few people knew that, before moving to Boston as a nanny, Anna had once been a violinist. She had started lessons at 5, and by 20 she was standing on grand stages, traveling with an international symphony orchestra. Music had not just been her career, it had been her very soul. But 3 years earlier, a car accident had damaged her left wrist. Doctors restored basic function, but the fine dexterity required for a professional violinist was lost forever. In a single moment, her career and her dreams vanished. For months, Anna drowned in despair. She couldn't bear to touch the violin, hiding every memento of her musical life in a box. To survive, she turned to childcare work, at first just a way to pay the bills, later a quiet refuge. And now, watching Lily's trembling hands and shining eyes, Anna felt both pain and something unexpected. Hope. Perhaps music was not gone. Perhaps it still lived, just in another form. That night, after Lily had gone to sleep, Anna sat alone in her small staff room. She opened a drawer and pulled out an old photograph. Herself on stage, wearing a gown, violin in hand, bathed in golden light. Tears slid silently down her cheeks. Yet mingled with the sorrow was a new feeling, that her past had not truly died, because now a little girl needed it to keep her own dream alive. From the next day onward, Anna began weaving violin into Lily's routine in subtle ways. Not formal lessons, she knew Michael would disapprove, but small activities, finger exercises disguised as games, rhythm practice through clapping, conversations about music as if they were fairy tales. Lily responded with a joy Anna had never seen in her before. Her laughter returned, bright and free. To Anna, it was as if a closed flower had finally found sunlight and begun to bloom. Anna realized she was stepping onto a new journey, partly for Lily and partly for herself, for the woman who had once lost music, now rediscovering it through the hands and heart of a child. One Thursday evening, Michael finished surgery earlier than expected. On a rare impulse, he decided to return home in time for dinner with his daughter. As he stepped into the apartment, a sound caught his ear. He froze. It wasn't the digital piano tucked in the corner. It was the unmistakable voice of a violin, clear and aching, filled with strange beauty. Michael walked into the living room and stopped short. There was Lily, face glowing, playing her violin under Anna's gentle guidance. Anna stood beside her, eyes half closed, hand moving softly in rhythm, every gesture revealing deep knowledge. Though still clumsy, Lily was performing passages far beyond what any child could learn on her own. For a few seconds, Michael stood motionless, spellbound. The fragile notes filled the room like whispers of a soul he had never heard before. Raw, beautiful, undeniable. But then discomfort surged. "Anna," his voice dropped. "Could I speak with you in the kitchen?" Lily rushed to his side, anxious. "I didn't do anything wrong, did I? Please don't be mad at Miss Anna because of me." Michael forced a smile, reassuring her, then led Anna to the kitchen. He wasted no time. "What I just saw wasn't play. That was professional technique. You studied violin, didn't you?" Anna sighed. The moment had come. "Yes, sir. I was a violinist. I performed with an international symphony orchestra for 8 years, until an accident ended my career." Michael's face tightened, disappointment flickering in his eyes. "Why didn't you tell me from the start? I needed a nanny, not a secret music tutor." Anna met his gaze, steady but gentle. "I stayed silent because I feared you'd think I wanted to push Lily into following my path. But when I saw her, I knew she had real talent, and more than that, a burning passion." Michael frowned. "What use is passion if it leads only to an unstable future? You are the proof. You had a career, and now you are a nanny." The words struck hard, but Anna didn't flinch. "Yes, my performing career ended, but those 8 years, I lived fully. I traveled the world, touched thousands of hearts with music. You may call that failure, but to me, it was a life worth living." Michael's voice grew firm. "But Lily is my daughter. I cannot let her walk into a path full of risk. She needs security." Anna paused, then spoke softly. "Sir, what good is a secure future without joy? Lily isn't like other children. She finds life itself in music. If you extinguish that flame, you will take away the only hope her heart has left." At that moment, Lily peeked into the kitchen, eyes red from listening. "Please don't be angry at Miss Anna. If you want Daddy, I'll stop. I won't play violin anymore, as long as she doesn't have to leave." Both adults were stunned. In Lily's tearful eyes was real fear, the fear of being abandoned again. Anna rushed to embrace her. "No one is making you stop, Lily. Never give up what makes you happy just because of fear." Michael stood frozen, watching them, and suddenly his late wife's words echoed. "You want to shield her from every disappointment, but sometimes overprotection becomes the greatest disappointment of all." In that moment, Michael realized he was standing at a crossroads between fear of losing control and the love for his daughter. After that tense confrontation, the air inside the Turner home grew heavy. Michael no longer spoke of the violin, but Lily withdrew into silence, afraid her passion had only brought disappointment. Anna knew the girl needed a chance to show her father the truth, that music was not a passing game, but the language of her heart. So she came up with an idea, a small performance, at home, just for Michael. A week later, while tidying up Lily's desk, Anna whispered, "Would you like to surprise your father? A piece you play with all the love you have for him?" Lily's eyes widened, both eager and afraid. "Daddy, he won't be angry, will he?" Anna smiled, taking the child's hand. "If you play with your heart, he won't be able to be angry. Music reaches places words never can." Together they chose a simple Mozart piece. Anna guided Lily, her posture, her bow hold, her timing, not to make it flawless, but to make it honest. In the days that followed, Lily practiced harder than ever. Each evening in the living room, Anna tapped a soft rhythm, while Lily closed her eyes, letting the melody carry her. Mistakes happened, but she pressed on, because to her this wasn't just practice, it was a message for her father. On the night of the performance, Anna arranged the living room like a tiny stage. Most lights were dimmed, leaving only a warm, golden glow. A vase of fresh flowers stood on the table. Lily wore a simple white dress her mother had once bought her. When Michael walked in, he looked puzzled. "What's going on here?" Anna gestured toward the sofa. "Tonight, there's a special performance for Dr. Turner." Michael frowned but sat down. And then Lily appeared, clutching her old violin, her heart pounding. The room fell silent. She took a deep breath and raised the bow. The first notes trembled, but carried a fierce tenderness. She poured everything into the music, each note, each vibration, telling her father what words could never express. Michael sat frozen. He had listened to hundreds of medical lectures, thousands of financial reports, but nothing like this. Every sound was a whisper, a plea, a heartbeat from the daughter he had never truly heard before. When the piece ended, Lily bowed deeply. Silence stretched for a few seconds, then Michael felt his eyes sting. A tear slipped down before he could stop it. "Daddy!" Lily ran to him, voice trembling. "Did you really like it? Did you understand the story I was telling?" Michael pulled her into his arms, choking back emotion. "I understood, Lily. You made me feel things I never thought I could feel. Your music touched my heart." Then he turned to Anna, eyes wet. "I was wrong. Thank you for helping me see my daughter in an entirely new way." Anna lowered her gaze, her lips trembling, her eyes glistening. That very night, Michael made a decision. "Lily, from now on, you'll study the violin properly. I'll ask Miss Anna to help us find the best school for you." Lily burst into tears of joy, clinging to him. "Really, Daddy? I'll get to study for real?" "Yes," Michael smiled, wiping her tears. "But you must promise me one thing. Give it your whole heart, and never quit just because it's hard." Lily nodded eagerly, hugging him tighter. And beside them, Anna stood with tears shining in her eyes, knowing a new door had just opened, for Lily, for Michael, and for herself. From the night of the living room performance, life in the Turner household entered a new chapter. The tension that had once hung over the apartment slowly dissolved, replaced by warmth Lily had never known before. 3 afternoons a week, Anna gave Lily structured violin lessons, no longer hidden, but with Michael's full consent. At first, he would sit at the table pretending to read case files, though his ears never missed a note. Later, he began asking questions. "Anna, how do you decide which exercises are right for Lily's age? Is there a specific method for children?" Patiently, Anna explained about different teaching schools, about finger training, ear development, and the importance of building foundations before advancing. Michael was astonished to realize that behind what seemed like a dreamy art lay an entire science, a blend of physiology, psychology, and pedagogy. Those lessons transformed not only Lily, but Michael himself. He started coming home earlier, cutting back on evening calls, simply to sit nearby while his daughter practiced. In his eyes grew curiosity, and soon after, pride. For Lily, the change was most visible in her smile. She became radiant, full of energy. Her schoolwork improved, grades rose, her personality blossomed, and her classmates warmed to her new confidence. Anna witnessed it all with quiet joy. To her, Lily was like a flower finally finding sunlight after a long winter. And for Michael, something strange happened. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to slow down. He canceled meetings just to drive Lily to violin class. He spent evenings listening to her repeat the same passage again and again, no longer seeing it as wasted time, but as a way to draw closer to his daughter. One evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Michael spoke to Anna in the kitchen. "You know, I never realized the violin could be so complex, so profound, and I never imagined my daughter could improve so quickly." Anna smiled softly. "Lily has talent, but more importantly, she has belief. When a heart is nurtured, it grows on its own." Michael looked at her, his gaze gentler than ever. "Because of you, I learned how to listen to Lily. Without you, I would still be a blind father." Anna blushed faintly, though a quiet warmth stirred within her. As weeks passed, dinners in the granite-tiled kitchen no longer fell into silence. Instead, there was laughter, Lily excitedly sharing her new lessons, Michael tapping his hand in rhythm with her melodies. And sometimes there was Anna, smiling softly, listening to them both, feeling that, at last, this house had become a real family. As time passed, the bonds within the Turner home grew stronger. For Lily, music became her new heartbeat. For Michael, every moment with his daughter felt like a gift he had almost lost forever. And within that journey, something else quietly bloomed, the connection between Michael and Anna. Not through declarations, but through small moments. Sitting together as Lily practiced, Anna gently correcting the girl's posture, while Michael watched silently, or late evenings when the two washed dishes side by side in a comfortable quiet. One evening after a lesson, Michael found himself saying aloud, "If it weren't for you, I would never have known how to truly listen to my daughter." Anna paused, then offered a faint smile. "And if it weren't for Lily, I might never have dared to touch music again." The words lingered in the small kitchen like a duet of two wounded souls finding harmony. Michael began to share stories about Emily, his late wife, and the fears that had hardened him. Anna, in turn, spoke of the accident that ended her career, of the days when she thought her life had closed forever. In the gentle glow, they realized they were no longer alone. Even Lily, with her child's intuition, sensed the change. She would sometimes whisper to Anna while they tidied the study, "Daddy smiles more now. I think he likes you?" Anna blushed, waving her hands. "You're just imagining things." But deep in her heart, she knew Lily was right. Day by day, Anna's presence became more than that of a nanny, more than a teacher. She became an inseparable part of the family. Michael found himself trusting, sharing, and in those fleeting moments when their eyes met, something unspoken passed between them. From the music of a little girl, a new love was quietly being born. 3 years had passed since the day Anna first stepped into the Turner home. In that time, Lily had grown not only in age, but in spirit. From a shy little girl, she had blossomed into a confident 12-year-old, one of the most promising students at Boston's prestigious music academy. That night marked the greatest performance of her young life, a solo concerto at Carnegie Hall, the very hall where, years earlier, she had sat in her mother's arms and discovered her dream. The grand hall glittered with light. Michael sat in the front row, his hands clasped, caught between nerves and pride. Beside him was Anna, dressed in a graceful navy gown. As the orchestra began its opening strains, Michael turned to look at her. His gaze carried not only gratitude, but also resolve. When Lily drew the first notes, silence swept across the hall. Her music rose not just from her hands, but from a heart nurtured by love and belief. Michael's chest tightened because he knew that without Anna, he would never have reached this moment with his daughter. As the music swelled to its climax, Michael suddenly stood. From his pocket, he pulled a small box, and right there in the luminous concert hall, He knelt before Anna. A murmur rippled through the audience, but Lily continued to play, her eyes sparkling as she caught sight of her father. "Anna," Michael said softly, his voice trembling, "you brought music back into my life and into my daughter's heart. Will you walk beside me and help us become a true family?" Under the bright lights, Anna covered her mouth, tears spilling freely. The hall held its breath. Then she nodded, whispering through her sobs, "Yes, I will." Applause erupted, blending with Lily's music, turning the moment into a triumphant symphony. 6 months later, Michael and Anna's wedding was held in the garden of Lily's music school. The ceremony was simple, yet overflowing with love. Lily, in a short white dress, stood as bridesmaid and gifted her father and stepmother a piece she had composed herself. When the final notes faded, the three embraced beneath the open sky as if every past sorrow had finally melted away. In that moment, Michael whispered, "We are living proof that sometimes God sends angels in ordinary form. Anna, you are our angel." And so the circle closed. What began with loss ended in wholeness, with a family healed where love, music, and faith had bound 3 hearts into one. One evening, after finishing her practice, she set the violin down, looked at them both, and said, "I think the most wonderful thing isn't just playing music, but playing it for the people I love. Because the most beautiful music is the kind that connects hearts." Her words struck Michael deeply. He realized that for years he had chased safety and control, forgetting that life itself is woven from fragile moments and delicate dreams. And it is those very dreams that make us truly alive. From loss they had found strength, from fear they had found hope, and from 3 wounded hearts they had built one whole family. The story of the Turners is not just about music, it is about the power of love. The love of a child for her dream, the love of a woman for her art, and the love of a father who learned to set aside fear in order to hold his daughter close. Beyond their walls, Boston still bustled, hospitals still glowed with night shifts, music still echoed through countless halls. But within their penthouse, 3 souls lived their own symphony, a symphony written with tears, laughter, and the unshakable belief that when love and music walk together, even the deepest wounds can be healed.